let's move on to our main
Yes.
topic.
All right.
So we haven't done a schedule breakdown in forever because a lot of the schedules of things like must-see TV, TGIF, frankly, classic things we kind of covered early on.
Yeah.
We really blew our load on the early days of this podcast and just breezed right through them. Uh,
But they were fun.
they
Lots of fun.
were, and now that we're probably better podcasters and we have the video, I do sometimes wonder if we should revisit things that we've done in the
Mm.
past. Not quite yet. It's only been a couple of years, but you never know.
Yep.
However, I was like, gosh, I really want to do one of those again. And our white whale of Fox Kids morning lineup or Fox Kids afternoon lineup is just way too hard still. So I'm still thinking cartoons.
Yep.
And we talk about The Simpsons and all these shows all the time. And I thought, animation domination,
Mm-hmm.
Fox Sunday nights. And the official branding is something that I'm surprised that I actually glommed onto, because when I looked up the actual years that animation domination happened, I don't think is when we were watching these shows as much as we might have thought.
No, not, and I'll outright say that there's quite a few that notes and other stuff like that are more just on a whole from the show than that exact time frame. So I didn't narrow it down that much in certain things I guess that started, but there's certain instances where I just kind of have notes on stuff because I may not have been watching it that much at that point, although I have come to a decent amount of these in time.
So interesting things where I don't think I watched most of these on Fox on Sunday nights, but so much of this wound up on Adult Swim second run. And
Mm-hmm.
I would come home from work at 1 in the morning sometimes from a TV job, and I'd stay up till 4 watching Adult Swim, which was just second run animation domination. So
Yeah.
when I looked at the seasons that were during this era and looked at episodes in the seasons, I'm like, oh, I know a lot of this. I didn't watch it
Yeah.
then, but I know a ton.
Sure.
So I got really caught up in the kind of evolution of the schedule, though, just from a top-down perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And officially, animation domination ran from 2005 until 2014.
Right.
So we're going to start with the 2005 to 2006 TV season. And we'll start at 8 o'clock, but I'd be remiss. I say that. I took notes for 7 to 10 because
Yep.
Fox on Sundays often would put stuff on right after football, but a lot of times those 7 o'clock shows would air and sometimes they wouldn't air, or
Yep.
sometimes things would get delayed. Like The Simpsons, they always wanted The Simpsons to be on at 8. If Malcolm in the Middle, which was on at 7, and King of the Hill was on at 7:30, happened to make air, neat. But they were the first things to die so that The Simpsons could make air at 8 o'clock. Were you watching what at this time was the final season of Malcolm in the Middle or King of the Hill at all at this point?
I might have been the same with King of the Hill, just because King of the Hill has got such a second run on FX and some other stuff, and I've often watched that just binging as it goes through. I would be surprised if I was watching either of them at that point. I did like Malcolm in the Middle, but I was more earlier on into that show than in 2005.
I think that's what so many people would say, because I know that show was so huge for a hot second there.
Yeah.
You had the Frankie Muniz hot period that he doesn't remember. We remember it more than he does based
Right.
on everything that he went through. But I did watch the final scene of the show on YouTube because I was really
Okay.
curious. It's a very interesting thing where they actually like wrap it all up really well, but also it's kind of depressing in the way that show never let Malcolm be happy, right?
Yeah.
That was part of it. That's actually the entire final scene, which I was fascinated with, where he's going to get this big money job and he's doing this and his parents ruin it for him and all this. And he's like, why would you do this? And it basically came down to they've been treating him poorly on purpose because they think it will set him up to run for president.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, we have an expectation for you. You're going to do this and you're going to do this. He's like, what if I don't want you to? He's like, well, that's just the plan, Malcolm. I'm sorry. Even Hal, nice Bryan Cranston, Hal's like, sorry, son. It's just what it's going to be. He's like, what if I wanted to be rich and lazy? And he goes, well, no, that's going to be Dewey. I don't know why that really made me laugh. Good on them.
They all had a plan. Interesting thing that I found just in trivia, it's saying that if that hadn't been the final episode, and it got renewed for an 8th season, Bryan Cranston wouldn't have been able to do Breaking Bad, which is mind blowing
Yeah.
to think about if they had done another season of Malcolm in the Middle.
We would have lost Breaking Bad. We would have lost Better Call Saul. It wouldn't have
Yeah.
been the world we know. And I'd rather have all of that than 8th season of
Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's fascinating thing, and there's a lot of like neat stuff from the show. I mean, I thought it was pretty clever TV. You know, it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of things to it that let you know that this wasn't kind of a typical family sitcom. This was willing to. It had, you know, I guess later on that kind of My Name is Earl, Raising Hope. I don't know. It's certain things where things aren't perfect, right? Like we don't live in a perfect. I know what's I'm trying to think of
Society.
another. Yeah, or Leave It to Beaver or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. You know, it's just we don't live in those neighborhoods. We live in just this normal kind of where things are messy and sometimes people yell at each other and it doesn't always work out. And Malcolm is the smartest guy in the room, and sometimes he screws up, you know, and often he screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, so
Yeah,
there
it
was
was good.
something endearing to it. And I think just certain times when Malcolm, knowing he's the smartest guy in the room, when something would fall apart and because he broke the fourth wall so often, he'd look at the camera to be like, wait a minute, how is this not working? I'm so confused right now. It was a lot of it had a lot of charm, a lot of appeal.
Absolutely. So, moving to King of the Hill,
Mm-hmm.
the animation Domination covered seasons 10 through 13. Season 13 was the last for 15 years before the recent revival, which, by the way, has been getting great reviews. I haven't
Yep.
watched any yet, but I'm
I
hearing
haven't
great
either, but I've
things.
seen, yeah.
So, while some of these shows, like The Simpsons, I have a lot to say season by season, and instead of doing a 20-minute Simpsons dump, I'll wait as we go year by year. I don't have a ton to say about King of the Hill, so I'll just kind of hit a couple general notes right now. So I love the original finale of King of the Hill, To Sirloin with Love. Is a really heartfelt episode where Bobby and Hank finally connect over the cooking of meat. It's the thing where they finally come together and they have cookouts, which connects into the modern show, which you see Bobby has become a professional chef as his
Yep.
job. However, as much as I love that really heartfelt, perfect finale, Fox has said, fuck you, because that episode aired second to last because they did not pay attention to the production schedule when they aired them. A random episode about Khan was the officially aired finale for 15 years. So, the only other thing worth noting, Cotton, Hank's father, had his legs blown off in World War II. They killed him off in season 12. So there you go. Any other thoughts on King of the Hill? Do you have much to say? I know you said you came to it late.
I enjoyed it. It just always had a nice kind of laid back flow to it. I mean, I think when Mike Judge actually originally started conceptualizing it, it had a lot more socio-political tone to it, and you know, just Hank kind of being in his conservative ways, and just from the way that he was, and then that went more into kind of his political views, not over the top so much, but when Greg Daniels was brought in to help develop, he saw other parts of it. And actually, like, Cotton wouldn't be in the show if it wasn't for Greg Daniels' suggestion. And so he introduced that character. And so Greg Daniels, who's, I mean, but done a million amazing things,
Adapted The
is
Office, co-created Parks and Rec, worked on The
yep.
Simpsons, SNL, worked with Conan a ton, I think, back in the day. Just
Yep.
totally
He's
shit.
his writing
Yeah.
partner. Yeah, just lots of good stuff. And he, when he came in and made these suggestions and started to ask for to move this into a slightly different tone. Judge was so pleased with all of that he made him a co-creator and all the credits and everything, not just like a developer or just like a producer. Like, so it just, I always liked, I mean, I loved Beavis and Butthead because it was so stupid, but like so much fun. And a lot of stuff that Mike Judge has done, obviously Office Space, Idiocracy, like there's a million different, Silicon Valley, there's a million things that I respect him as a artist and a creator. But hearing a lot of interviews with him, he just seems like a really down to earth, good dude who just happens to be smart and funny. And it's like, that's, I really kind of enjoy that part of it. I got like two notes, but they're more like just like trivia for King of the Hill. It's on specifically about the show. Is that I love that the theme song, so by the Arizona band The Refreshments, which I don't know if you remember the one hit wonder Banditos from the late 90s. It was okay. I got a lot of music video play too, but the name of that song, the theme song, the bass line and the hootin' and hollerin' and is just called Yahoos and Triangles, which is
Oh,
basically what it is. I
yeah,
was
it
like, it's
is.
a very
Absolutely.
apt name
Yeah.
song. And I don't know if you've heard this story, but Mike Judge has told this story multiple times on different talk shows about how Boomhauer's voice came to fruition. And it was an angry viewer for Beavis and Butthead left a voicemail on his answering machine, or a message on his answering machine, and it was just this rambling, incoherent guy that for some reason thought Beavis and Butthead was called Porky's Butthole, and just and just kept going, that dang old that Porky's Butthole ain't no good, and that turned into Boomhauer's inspiration. Just it's a really
Nice.
fun, if you can find that clip on YouTube or whatever, it's a lot of fun to see Judge go through the whole thing. But good times.
I'll
And
find it and take a peek.
sorry, I had one more. Stephen Root was not credited for the first couple seasons of this show because of News Radio, and his contract stated that he could not be credited in another show while he was on a different network.
Interesting. I guess that
So
makes sense, but fair enough. Both love him in both of these things, frankly.
yeah, I mean, good
The
run.
the vibe on King of the Hill Road is when I was looking at the 4 years of episodes, I could only pick out one or two that I absolutely knew I had seen, but I
Yeah.
also know I've seen all of them in reruns or TV. But it's
Yep.
that type of show, like you're saying, there it's just, oh, it's just on and it's pleasant. I'm not putting on King of the Hill and, oh, I love this King of the Hill episode, but I also have nothing against it and we have a fine time.
I think it's a show that, in very few instances, needs to be watched in any sort of sequential order. Like, it's just kind of like you put it on, like, oh, this is going on. It's everything is pretty much its own half hour, right? Like, I think there were a couple two-parters when the Megalomart blew up or whatever, and somebody died, or I think that was a 2 or 3 episode arc. But most of the time, it just beginning, middle, end. How old is this person then? And even that time wasn't usually like, because obviously Bobby stayed the same age for the most part, but
So moving on, obviously, when I had mentioned that I have a lot of notes for a few of these shows, one of course is The Simpsons. Instead of diving into 10 years of Simpsons talk, I'll go season by season as we look at
okay.
different years and changes. Season 17 is fascinating, but we are definitely knee deep in what I call the dregs
Yep.
of The Simpsons. I do feel like they had a late teens, early 20s renaissance. They've always ebbed and flowed, right? But there are always going to be good episodes in a Simpsons season. Even lately, they'll always have at least like one or two that are really good.
Sure.
But this ain't the era this ain't the classic era no more. However, season 17 did break Fox's tradition of pushing its show's season premieres back to November to accommodate the Major League Baseball games airing on the network. So that's cool. I don't know. I always hated that crap. It put Treehouse of Horror into November for like years.
Yeah.
Like, Halloween's over. This should have
Yeah.
aired 3 weeks ago, you
I think they even
motherfuckers.
made fun of it a couple times, right?
Oh,
Like they even
definitely.
said Halloween show in November. I think Ken Kodos did it in one of them.
This is a well-documented trivia fact. You know the trivia of the season premiere for season 17 on the Simpsons movie?
No.
Season 17, I believe it's Bonfire of the Manatees, was the original pitch for the plot of the Simpsons movie. And I'll tell you, I fucking hate this episode, and I'm glad it wasn't the Simpsons movie. They obviously
Yeah.
quickly figured that out too, but apparently it was like the original one they were working on. And it
Mm,
became, they're like, thank God people are like, no, but maybe we can get a half hour. And
right.
even then, it's not a great half hour. That said, there are some classics in this season that I personally love. The Italian Bob, the Sideshow Bob episode where he's revealed to be hiding in Italy and he's started a family. I think it's a modern classic. His little kid with the knife screaming, Vendetta, Vendetta, my
Yeah.
Simpson, gets me every time. I still enjoy it.
That's
So,
a
like,
good one.
there is stuff to like here, but maybe not enough to recommend the whole season. Thoughts?
Yeah, and this is and I don't want to ever say that I checked out on The Simpsons, but this is definitely a go in and out
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
on, it's this is, I would say, this 10-year run, there's probably No, unless I go back and look at the episode list, I'm not going to be able to tell you definitively it's from that season. I'm pretty good with that for probably the first 12, 13 seasons, but this is starting to get to the point where I just kind of checked in and out, candidly.
Listen, to be frank, part of it too is think about where we are in our lives personally. For
Yeah.
me, 2004 was the first full year I ever worked in television. And that
Hmm.
was my first full-time career moment, and I never looked back. This is the next year, things start to fall off, and suddenly you're
Yeah.
working and having a life and developing in your 20s. These
And
things happen.
me being a couple years ahead of you, I'm probably fully into that mode. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's probably the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to the next show on this year, The War at Home. So this is a live action show, despite animation domination.
Hmm.
I noticed what I was expecting because they branded this era animation domination because
Yeah.
there were a bunch of animated shows. But
Right.
in my mind, it was going to be years of nothing but cartoons. There are constantly live action shows showing up on Sunday nights. And if you're looking at prime time, right in the middle, 8:30 p.m., The War at Home. And I got to tell you, I didn't fucking like this show. I do
Yeah.
not like Michael Rappaport. I do not find him funny, which, by the way, for some reason, I remember this going way more than 2 seasons. Maybe it was one of
Hmm.
those ones where I felt like they were constantly hitting promos for it to try to get you to watch it at the time.
Probably.
But he was hitting that early 2010s, late 2000s, like updated Archie Bunker trope they liked to trot
Yep.
out. And they like to trot it out when I feel like they just wanted to be able to say bad shit on TV, but act like it's funny. Oh,
Yep.
Archie Bunker from the modern times. No, he's just being racist. So not my speed.
Yeah, I think I put it as my one note or one sentence summary is Michael Rappaport lives in Long Island as a loud, abrasive father of three kids. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
that's really all it was. To me, this seems sort of similar to, and it took place, I think, in Queens, Grounded for Life, which was the Donald Logue, which I actually liked more. I thought actually
That
was
one had a
had some.
little heart question mark, as I recall. Is that not
What's that?
true? Did that one have a little more heart question mark?
Yeah, and I think was actually legitimately funnier. Kevin Corrigan played like the uncle, and he was actually really funny in it. Like he was
Yeah, I
kind of
like
the
Kevin
so
Corrigan.
they had some good ancillary characters that kind of worked their way into it. This I don't recall. I mean, I have some memory of maybe watching an episode, but it's the same thing you've always seen from Michael Rappaport. You know what you're getting. Like it's just the one thing, and I'm sure you saw this in the trivia, is that the big thing was the middle child Larry, his best friend as a recurring character was played by Rami Malek, which was like his first thing
Oh, I
to
missed
show
that.
up as a big thing. That was yeah. So that's I'm sure he like blew away acting wise anybody else that was on the screen. But that was the one thing I took away from it. And like you said, there was 2 seasons of this. And it was pretty universally panned. Like nobody. I think. And oh, you know what? The other one that was kind of like this was Titus, like that kind of the Christopher Titus sitcom. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like Titus a
Yeah,
lot more than I like this by
yeah,
a
but it's
mile.
same. They're trying to get the same idea through, right? Like, and
Hmm.
so I agree. Titus was
Titus
a
was
better
creative. He also
concept. Yeah,
was dealing with mental health and issues
yeah.
that I feel like this show would never be as intelligent enough
Well,
to
and that
deal
was
with.
rooted in his all his stand up stuff, which had been well well constructed in the past, and so this was just Michael Rappaport is annoying or whatever. So, but
No,
like,
no arguments there, and still
yep.
is. So 9 o'clock. Not only is this 2005 to 2006 9 p.m. spot Family Guy, you realize this is the season where it came back.
Yeah.
Famously, Family Guy had been canceled. And what I feel like people might not remember, or if they do, maybe it's been lost time, I don't know. As someone who grew up, maybe that's not the right term. As someone who lived through the original 3 seasons of Family Guy and its cancellation, it was the most breathtaking, original, funny, oh my God thing you had ever seen. The DVDs sold like hotcakes, and my friends and I, we treated them, they were like bootleg albums almost, because it was like, have you seen this? Like, watch this, trade this. You see this one? We got to watch this. And it's this finite thing of 3 seasons of perfect, funny TV. And everyone loses their shit because everyone goes, all right, you love this Family Guy so much, we're going to bring it back. 2005. Oh my God, it comes back. We are happy. We are all so happy. And I skimmed the episodes from this 10-year period, roughly, right? To see when did I fall out of love with Family Guy? Because I could not give two flying fucks about Family Guy right now. I
Yeah.
think it's quite a bad show.
Yes.
And which is amazing considering how excited I was for it to come back 20 years ago. So I'll tell you the point as we're going on, or maybe I should just say it, where I fell out of love. But skimming the episodes, it was definitely a slow death. I like weaned off of it as the milk soured. But man, it's just crazy to think about the fall from grace.
It I don't think it ever recovered from that initial excitement, right? Like, I mean, you said it perfectly there. Like, and I remember I go a little bit further back where I was in college and the episodes got ripped to, like media player files. And I can remember having a season's worth on like a CD or something like that on my computer. Like,
It
and
was
it
like
just to
almost
go,
underground at one point. Like,
yeah.
have you seen this? This is amazing.
And to have it, to watch it back and I will say, I mean, it was novel at the time, right? But there were some dark, really funny jokes. Sometimes now it turned into dark, either completely referential jokes, or which are okay sometimes, but when every one of them is referencing just something that's random from the past, sometimes it's not even pop culture. It's just like, hey, this is this old thing that maybe you remember. And it got way too oversaturated. And I think it did a better job of some back and forth in the early seasons where that just kind of went away and just became, it was always kind of mean and that was sort of funny, but like it became meaner and it became less
Definitely.
fun. It became less fun to watch that way because it's just, that's all it was. It was mean jokes and referential stuff. And you're like, okay.
Regarding the delivery of the jokes, you're 100% right on the tone, right? Regarding actual crafting of jokes, one of the things that I've hung on to when I've seen older episodes now is they're not quick-witted anymore. Everything has to, even if it's initially funny, it will just hammer you again. Or it'll be, they're guilty of one of my least favorite things to do in comedy. The repeat of what was a funny joke. Like immediately. Not as part of the bit, but like because they can't just let it land. That's like they want you to be like, that was a joke.
There's an over reliance on it too. It's one thing if that's
Yeah,
introduced once an episode, right? Once every 2 episodes, something like that, where it's part of a overall comedic thread, right? Where there's this kind of interweaving of a bunch of different types of jokes. But when there's 5 of those every episode, it's like, all right, already. Like, yes, we do get it. Like, this isn't funny. Stop.
yeah,
Please.
absolutely.
It gets tired. I think this coming back, I mean, there are fun parts. I'm sure there's episodes that I laughed at that were this, 2005 season and on. But there's certain things where that became more the norm than the outlier. And
Absolutely.
it just felt better constructed early on. And maybe that's just because they had mined what was the best stuff through 3 seasons. It's not easy to continue to do great comedy, great comedic animation. So
That's part of why I think this first season back was so good, because I remember in interviews when they were coming back, they were like, well, we thought we would get a fourth season. They had a lot of scripts written already.
uh,
So like this first season and back is pretty good, but it's also mined from the archives, as it were, maybe to some degree. But moving on, there's the show I want to get into more. What
okay.
I don't know anything about, it's Free Ride. That was, it looks like one season, and the description of this show is so fascinating. It's a
Yeah.
partially improvised sitcom, is how it's described. And I couldn't find anything else about it. I genuinely was Googling, and all I was getting back was like AI results rehashing the same paragraph from Wikipedia. Well, it was a partially improvised sitcom that aired in 2006. I was like, I don't know what that means. And then I was getting so intrigued, like, what if this is some hidden gem? It's about a recent college graduate readjusting to life at home with his parents in Missouri. And then I was like, oh, and it's partially improvised and unique. But then I saw that what was written was written by Chuck Lorre. I was like, I'm good.
You can find the episodes on YouTube. They're
How
out
did I
there.
miss that?
Yeah. Not as like YouTube, they're just excerpts that have been uploaded. It's not necessarily anything. So I tried to watch part of the first episode, the pilot, which may not have been a fair shake just because that's the first one. I mean, there were only what, 6, I think, that aired, but
Yeah, didn't get much.
um it's not good. And
Shock and awe.
yeah, the whole first part of it is just a exposition dump. It's this guy on the phone driving back from from college to go back home, and he's just on the phone talking to somebody, telling them what he's doing. So he's just setting up the premise of the show via I'm on my cell phone driving home. None of it is funny. There's no good like back and forth to it. And then when he gets to his house, to where his parents are, they aren't expecting him to be home, and then the joke is kind of they turned his room into a gym and he has to sleep in the garage, and like
That is some played out shit.
that's the first 5 minutes of the episode, and just and the only thing I have of note from this is that there's a side character named Mark Dove who is like one of his old buddies from high school, and he's played by Dave Sheridan, who is mostly known for playing Officer Doofy in Scary Movie, the send up of the Dewey. Yeah.
How about that?
So he was in this show, but that's the only thing I found.
In your research, what I was trying to find was, why was it partially improvised?
No, and just again, I had trouble sitting through more than the 5 minutes that I did, to see if
Could you
that
tell
went
it was
somewhere
being
else.
improvised, that it was bad
I mean, just because it was
improvisation?
bad, I guess. I wonder if they were going for. I mean, maybe they were. When was Curb out? Right? When did Curb come out? Were they trying
Oh
to
my god! Oh my
pitch?
god! That's
Were they trying to pitch it as that maybe?
Curb
And
Your Enthusiasm. Well, Curb Your Enthusiasm started in 2000, so it's been like 5
yeah.
years at this point.
So maybe that was how they got the hook on it, to be like, yeah, this is going to be this show. We're going to be like Curb, where each scene is going to be kind of its own thing, and we just go through it and we figure it out. And it's like it came across that way, if that's what they were trying to do.
You're not Larry David, Chuck Lorre. Dear God. But
and the people that were in this, none of them, like the guy I mentioned that played Doofy in the Scary
That's
Movie,
your top star.
that's the biggest name from this whole thing.
Oh boy, that's not great. That's not great at all.
Yes, free ride
on
YouTube if you watch if you dare. So
moving on. So
yes, please.
Moving on to the other show that it aired in this season at the 9:30 spot is American Dad. And American Dad is such a fascinating thing for me, because you had said you've never really watched it, didn't watch it then, don't watch it now, because I have a bit of a dump, frankly, that I'd love to get into about the evolution of the show and my perspective on the show. Is there anything, before I basically cut loose for a hot second, is there anything you'd like to say about maybe the start of the show, why you didn't watch, what you've seen or think? Do you have any thoughts on the show at all? Or
it didn't premiere till 06, right? Or 05, something like that. So
05 was the premiere, yeah.
Like right after the Super Bowl, right? That was and
then it eventually moved to Sundays.
Oh, Super Bowl was on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. I was thinking that it was. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. Sorry,
but it was at late
time slot.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it was aired at like 11 or something.
No,
like that.
it's you don't remember 2005 was a Wednesday Super Bowl?
Oh, got it.
You don't remember that?
Unique. Oh, Mike giving me sports information. Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Completely accurate, I'm sure.
I'm surprised you don't remember that. It was pretty famous.
Yeah, weird. The thing that I remember about it, and again, I in and out really, and mostly through reruns, is how I watched American Dad. I didn't ever really watch it first run. Is that it just had a little bit more, I don't know if heart's the right word, but it felt more of a complete show than Family Guy, and even going later. Like there was a more fully formed kind of relationship across the board. And what's interesting about it is I dove a little deeper into it, and you may get into this too, is that really, Seth MacFarlane was focusing more on Family Guy. So he was voicing, obviously, Stan in this, but he was less involved in the show running and the production of it. And I think that's what gave it its, kind of moving off into a slightly different direction, right?
Exactly what I want to talk
Mm-hmm.
A bit of that trivia was some of what I was going to say, but I also was going to tie into my feelings on the show and kind of how I came around to it.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I shall begin my rantings. You
There
let
we
me know
go.
if you want to break in for something.
Okay.
But basically, yeah. So American Dad was launched when Family Guy was canceled. It was developed as saying that suddenly Family Guy comes back. And he's like, you have, I was trying to say it was like you had a second kid because you thought your first kid ran away or something, and the kid came back. I don't know. It's like, oh, but the first one's here. I don't need this anymore. Fuck. He wasn't as involved day to day, but there's a great interview that he gave where I'll paraphrase here is that as the series progressed, McFarlane realized that the people who'd taken over the show, Mike Barker and Matt Weitzman, were on to something uniquely appealing. Moreover, he realized that they were on their way to something that sharply contrasted, which audiences were gravitating to. So after those first few seasons, he came to not only fully understand and appreciate American Dad's value, but also came to consider himself a fan of the series. He just happened to voice on it. So, taking note of his Twitter followers' increased fanaticism, his quote, over the character of Roger, he began putting more effort and time into the series moving forward as a voice actor than, frankly, that says to me, it shows how much he phones in Family Guy because he's like, oh, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But to
I will
me,
say good on him for not, I mean, I don't know if there's stories out there about his ego one way or the other, but to at least understand that for the good of kind of everything that was going on, he didn't torpedo American Dad just by being like, I can make this better, I'm the genius, kind of thing.
and that's honest to God, the show, once it developed its voice, I would say like so many shows, it took time, right?
Mm-hmm.
While there are episodes I like in the first 3 seasons, it's still very much that initial premise of Bush era jokes. We're coming off of 9/11 still. It's only 4 years removed, 5 years
Yep.
removed, depending on when we're looking at the first season. It's a very different time, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's the war on terror is when this show came out, and it was almost based off that idea. By season 4, however, is when suddenly it clicked. The premiere episode is one of my favorites. It's called The Vacation Goo. And it has nothing to do with anything other than they're going to go on vacation. Stan doesn't want to, which sounds like the most generic plot, except he gets all the CIA tech to put them into storage and dump them into tanks and trick them into trips. And it's so creative and goofy and weird. And it's using
Yeah.
all that CIA stuff that was being mined for kind of tired terror humor
Yeah.
to just be like, all right, fuck it, let's just do something. And it really took off from there to the point where I looked like I did with The Simpsons. The next 5 seasons of the show are episodes that I will comfort watch to this day.
Mm.
The next 5 seasons of American Dad, wildly different types of humor, but
Yeah.
I will watch those as much as I will watch classic era Simpsons.
Mm.
I love those years. They're so goddamn funny. The one where Stan accidentally gets addicted to crack because somebody tells him it's cold medicine, and it just keeps, and he's too proud to admit he has a problem, so his
Yeah.
addiction just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's fucking amazing. And then there's this is so breathtaking to me because there's a little bit of continuity that they develop. It's never continuity, but they decided for about 5 years they did 1 episode a season until they brought him back. There's a character called Jeff, which Haley, the daughter, had married. He's like a stoner dropout, long-running character.
Mm.
They eventually got married.
I think, and voiced by the same name, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
her actor is the same name, right?
Yes. So, I forget which season, he finds out Roger's an alien. And so through this long, funny episode where it seems like Roger has to go back to his home planet because somebody else found out, right at the end, right when it's about to happen, Roger's about to get beamed up to his ship. He just kicks Jeff into the beam. Jeff gets beamed up and the ship takes off. That's funny, except that then for the next 3 or 4 years, they devoted 1 episode a season to Jeff trapped in space trying to get home. And it became this mini arc over years of just like what creative shit that Family Guy
I'm
could
gonna.
never do if you're watching the video version. I think my hand motions, I got so excited talking about
Yeah.
American Dad, I was swinging wildly, and
You
my
you
camera
beam you beamed up the
freaked
camera.
the fuck out. So, anyway, I could go all day. I won't. But
Mhm.
basically, it's almost more of a passionate. I feel like a lot of people sleep on what this show became because of what those first couple of years in 2005 were, and because of Family Guy coming back. And I would just beg you to give it a shot at some
So
point.
I think it was interesting the more research I did about it, just because I hadn't watched it, because I think I already was starting to get Family Guy fatigue. And then because of the way that this show looked, even though it was
And
obviously
launched, frankly, in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
much different in content, much different in kind of the storylines and everything like that, I just didn't want to wait to take the time to invest in it. And now, having done more research, I may start checking out a couple just because I'm intrigued by it based on what I've read, and it seems to actually be more favorable across the board for a longer period of time for it than for Family Guy, candidly.
I absolutely agree. It's one of those things where it has fallen off a bit in the last few years,
Hmm.
but I looked up just like I did with
I
The
mean,
Simpsons.
how many years, right?
That's just it. Hang on, I was actually just about to look up something here, and I will give you a reference. They just finished in May, season 19.
Yeah, so there you go.
So,
It's
and I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at not that one. Looking at season, they were crushing it hard. I say through season 11 without fail, and
Mhm.
then the last 2 years have still been pretty good. So from
Yeah.
like seasons, think about we talk about the classic era of The Simpsons. For this show, seasons 4 to seasons 11, money,
Mm.
just money. If you, I won't bomb you with them, but if you wouldn't be offended, I might just send you a list of 5 or 6 episodes. Like, hey, if
Yeah.
you got time, check these ones out. You might really enjoy them.
Huh.
So, thank you for allowing me that officially sanctioned rant time. I didn't feel the
Mm.
need to limit myself as much because it was an official topic. So,
It was not I was allowed to interrupt
yeah.
and chime in. So this wasn't a Mike, you've been going for 5.5 minutes.
I've been trying to
Please
do
come up
better.
for air.
I've been trying to
No,
do
no,
better.
no, no, no. That was you speaking to something that you knew a lot about, and me allowing to come in at time to time. So I think that was perfectly fine. So
You're a lovely human being. Thank you. So that really covers so much that we just talked about.
yeah,
And again, we'll talk Simpsons and a few things for the others. I realize that's a lot of what we're going to say because most of those shows kind of stay. And what you
yeah,
see is a lot of other things falling and failing, let's say, kind of shifting and failing around them.
yeah.
We move to the next season, which is 2006, 2007. And Malcolm in the Middle's over. The War at
Yep.
Home is still on. Simpsons at 8 o'clock. American Dad, King of the Hill, Simpsons reruns make up a lot of the 9 o'clock, the 8:30 spot. Sorry,
Yep.
9 o'clock Family Guy, American Dad, War at Home, Family Guy reruns at 9:30. Your 8:30 and your 9:30 are where things have a little variation.
Okay.
So at 8:30, you have a show called The Winner, which I may have missed writing this down in the list of
Oh
shows we
yeah.
should look at.
You're gonna have to help me out with this one.
Yes. No, here's the thing. I'm realizing I did this just now on accident. That's me.
Maybe it'll knock something loose. Please enlighten me to the winner.
So there's actually 2 shows here that I missed on this
Okay.
year only, I hope. So you and I together will discover what the fuck The Winner is,
Yeah.
which I remember this.
Do
I
you?
remember this. This was Rob Corddry. Looking
Okay.
back to it was the Wonder Years. He's in his mid 40s. I say it's the Wonder Years. He's in his mid 40s, looking back to his early 30s, where he had just lost his virginity. He was trying to date his neighbor. It was a whole different vibe. I don't
Yep.
remember anything about it, and it only had 6 episodes. I didn't watch
Hey,
any of them.
that
It
would be
doesn't
the
seem like
reason.
anyone
Yep.
else did either. But it aired Sundays at 8:30 for the first. I'm sorry. Jeez, no wonder they did not want this show to air. You know when they don't want a show to succeed and they know it's going to be bad and they burn them off? Here's the air times for the 6 episodes of this show. March 4th at 8:30 p.m. March 4th at 9:30 p.m. March 11th at 8:30, March 11th at 9:30, March 18th at 8:30, March 18th at 9:30. It's over.
Get him out of there.
They went on, off, on for 3 weeks. Done. You're out. Like, did they have a contractual obligation to air the show at all? And then they were like, and you're done. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, maybe. That's, huh.
Yeah.
And just maybe as a favor to McFarlane, maybe just because he was a producer on it.
Ricky Blitt, who was a co-creator and who based most of this on his life, was an original writer on Family Guy. So he has not done a lot of stuff I want to watch. My goodness. Oh boy. Oh, what's this one? Hang on. Oh, he wrote The Ringer, the one where,
oh boy,
yeah, exactly.
Johnny Knoxville one,
yeah, with the mentally disabled. Yeah, he wrote that. So, moving on, shall we, to The Loop, which was, again, we're looking this one up. I have no idea what the fuck this is. We're learning this as we go.
Yeah.
This is a sitcom that aired. This made it longer. This got to air for 2 months. Oh, it got 2 seasons. Its first season was 7 episodes. Its second season was 10 episodes. Oh boy, this is okay. So it didn't do a ton. Oh, and its first season, I think, was shortened by the writer's strike. That might be the only thing that made it survive.
Okay.
Because the 2000s, wait, when was the writer's strike? 2008, actually? Or 2006?
Yeah, I thought it was 8, but I could be wrong.
So no, this show was just bad. Never mind. It's a single camera situation comedy. Oh, hey, tell me if you've heard this one before. Are you ready?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Single camera sitcom about a man, his friends, and coworkers as they try to survive their personal and professional lives.
That's a unique concept.
I hope no! A complete script is written for each episode, but actors are given opportunities to improvise their lines during the shooting process.
Oh no!
Why do they keep trying this, and why does it keep failing?
Looks like created by Pam Brady, who was one of the main early South Park people.
Oh.
One of the producers with Matt and Trey.
Well, I hope she went on to better things.
She had early South Park, so good on her.
Well, I'm sorry I completely dumped 2 shows on us that I fucking missed while I was talking about them. That's my bad.
Yeah. Wow.
That being said, moving to the next season, 2007, 2008. Oh, actually, hang on. Let's dial it back 1 year. I did want to mention my Simpsons notes because I took Simpsons notes for each season.
All right.
Do you have anything else to say on the season before I hit my Simpsons notes for that TV season?
No.
Especially because I surprised you with 2 shows. So. Season 18. The season finale, You Can't Always Say What You Want, the Kent Brockman-centered episode, was the series' 400th episode. Additionally, the Simpsons franchise celebrated its 20th anniversary as the franchise, not the show, because it had been on since Tracy Ullman in 87.
Okay.
So it was 20 years of The Simpsons, season 18 of the show. So, also, I detest Kill Gil Volumes 1 and 2, which is 1 episode. Gil is such a one-note joke in general that having a featured episode was such a stretch for late-era, bad-era Simpsons. And boy, can you feel it. You can feel it.
A whole episode? Yeah, like...
Yeah. If you go back to revisit, only do this one if you're angry at yourself. Then on the flip side, however, one of, I think, 3 appearances he will go on to make. Eric Idle as Declan Desmond doing the documentary episodes. The Springfield Up episode is in this season, which is a parody of the documentary series 7-Up, where they would revisit people every 7 years and film a new documentary. They did 7-Up, 14-Up, 21. You get the idea. You can do math. Yes. And they would see how have these people aged since they started in the 60s. A lot of really funny stuff here. Eric Idle is really great, as always. Just entertaining stuff of Homer trying to seem like he's embarrassed of what his life had become. And
Mm-hmm.
so he lies to Eric Idle and the documentary crew about how successful he'd been when you hit like 48 or something, essentially. Like, no, I turned it all around, and it's all bullshit. And really, it turns out he kidnapped Mr. Burns and stolen his mansion to try to take over. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
My one point I have here is all of the flashback stuff for when they're kids is so clearly breaking Simpsons continuity, and yet why am I okay with it here when an episode like that 90s episode or that 90s show, whichever it's called, which is just a disaster, fills me with rage? And I will simply say, probably because this one's funny and that one isn't. So I can get past it because the jokes are good.
That's usually how it goes.
Also, this season, The Boys of Bummer is one of the most depressing, unfunny half hours of TV ever made. I don't know if they're trying to be cringe, but Bart makes a mistake in a Little League game, and the town turns on him, and it never really gets better. Everyone stays angry, and he keeps not improving, it feels like. And I'm just like, this is sad. It's not fun.
Jeez.
Anyway, moving on. Did any of those episodes do anything? Do you remember any of those episodes I talked about?
I don't. Yeah, I must have completely checked out that season. So, and maybe in passing, or it was on FXX or whatever at some point. But
one of the many marathons. If you go onto the old Disney Plus, look up Springfield Up. It's a fun episode. Of all the ones that season, it's the one I'd recommend the most.
Okay.
Moving on to the 2007-2008 season, and this is the Writers Guild strike season.
Okay.
So this one, there is one new show that we can talk about here. Otherwise, it was King of the Hill, American Dad, Simpsons, Family Guy. Like, it's the old standbys, right?
Sure.
I'm not counting summer shows with Till Death, the Brad Garrett sitcom. However, have we ever talked about that show on this show? That's a deep dive.
Patricia Heaton too? I think
No.
That's
the middle, I think you're thinking of, right?
Oh, maybe. Who was the other? Who was with him on Till Death?
It's the guy from American Pie that's not Stifler. It's the one that fucked Stifler's mom.
Oh, Eddie K. Thomas? Yeah.
Yes. So here's the thing. I don't want to get into this now because I genuinely, I don't want to watch the show. I want you, not now, another time, read about Till Death and why it got as many seasons as it did, because holy shit, is it, it's a fascinating journey of copyright laws and syndication rights and just, it was a zombie TV show they kept renewing when by no reason should have it still been on the air. It's fascinating. Anyway, they put
Jolie
reruns
Fisher. What was those?
Oh, there you go.
Right. That's what I thought.
They put reruns out of that in the summer. We don't care about the summer.
Yeah.
Unhitched, however, aired at the 9:30 spot in the late winter and spring of this season. And this is a show from the Farrelly brothers, co-starring Rashida Jones. And I didn't remember this shit at all, and it only got 6 episodes. How did this escape my notice? This seems like
only a summer fill-in, right? And only 6 episodes.
This before or after she was on The Office?
So here's the fun part. This is her in between Office and Parks and Rec. How about that?
Oh, shit.
Like, this is what she did in between. I went back and looked through, and it was like she had one-offs for like episodes or guest stars on certain things, but for a consistent recurring thing.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine
no longer
if she
on
got
The Office
this instead of Parks and Rec? What a disaster that'd be. I wouldn't say it would change history, because I bet you could have found another Ian Perkins, unlike Brian Cranston earlier.
But
still,
between two very great roles. So this is a kind of, and this is the same kind of thing. The twist to this show on the, single people trying to find love in the modern world is that all these people,
cities in their 30s have it so hard, Randy. They have it so hard.
So all of these people have already been married. That's the newest thing. So they're unhitched.
I get it now.
Yes. So, and trying to find their new soulmates and stuff like that. The lead character was played by an actor named Craig Bierko.
Why do I know that? I've been trying to figure out why I know that name.
His claim to fame is he was the original choice for Chandler Bing, which
I missed
What?
that. Wow.
I think I wrote that in my notes, and then in parentheses I put like 6 exclamation points. So for Friends, and that was the other note I had was the thing about Rashida Jones, where it said this was her TV project in between those two.
Oh, he went to school with David Schwimmer. Do you think they were so excited at one point? We're gonna act in a show together. Oh no.
Oh, and he did Unhitched. So yeah, this
Did he even
the
do the
only thing that
pilot of
I've
Friends, or did he get canned before the pilot?
but I had seen that somewhere else, just if it was like a random pop culture trivia thing, one of those, where it's like this person could have been on this, and that he was in there. I think he was their
He
original choice,
turned
but
it
it felt
down.
oh boy. Boo,
Wow.
Craig.
That's fucked. Buddy, why? Hang on, I gotta find more of this.
Was Friends a popular show, Mike? I don't really remember.
Good lord. Bierko was the original choice for the character of Chandler Bing in the sitcom Friends, but turned it down, contrary to the advice of friends Hank Azaria and Matthew Perry.
Yeah, well, I know Hank Azaria tried out for Friends too, but
No,
and was
I'm
on
saying
it. I
that
think
Chandler told him to take the role.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Matthew Perry said you should take this role.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. That was more of a needle drop than you gave me. I thought that was going to be a big moment.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm amazed. So, but
what are you asking about Hank Azaria? I was too angry. What do we got?
No, he ended up on the show too. I think he played Phoebe's boyfriend for a while.
Oh yeah, on Friends, definitely.
Yes.
I don't think he was on Unhitched at any point. I could be wrong. He does a lot of guest spots.
He's no the
Hank Azaria Unhitched.
Nope.
Show
The
results
only thing
with Unhitched. No results.
I tried to find this on YouTube, and the only thing I found, and at first I thought it was like a joke, and I sent it to you, is it was like a promo for this show airing on Z Cafe, which I then found out was a English-speaking Indian channel, like channel that they run for like old American sitcoms on this channel in India. But it said, from the guys that brought you There Is Something About Mary, which I thought was really funny that it said there is something about Mary. So
I just have this image of a like a copy editor in London being like, it's looking good, quiet, what's all this then? There's some, oh, that won't do. That will not do. Right act. There is something about Mary.
Yes.
Better print it.
But really the only thing I saw, and it was a 90-second promo for the show, and it involved about 15 seconds of actual footage from the show. And that's the only thing I could find on Hinge.
Sounds great. Yeah, it doesn't. I got nothing. Right. Yeah. Moving on to the next season, which is the 2008-2009 season, which obviously, while not stopped by the, if anyone's watching the video version, I've been using like a pen, like just to fidget with, and it just flying out of my hand. Like it just is gone. There it is. It's like, it was just, if you're watching, it was just. Funk.
Was that during the writer's strike?
My pen flying out of my hand?
No. 2008, 2009. Is this the writer's strike?
No, that was the previous year. I'm saying this is the fallout from the writer's strike.
That would have been a great metaphorical it
would have.
Throwing your pen away writer's strike.
Oh, solidarity. But then I crossed it and used my keyboard.
Wow. Oh well.
So
next time.
Damn it! I did this again. I did it again. I go to move on to the next year, but I want to talk about The Simpsons. Every time I got to talk about next year, let's dial it back. One more year. Season 19. So The Simpsons movie came out in 2006. So this next year was the first season after the movie.
Right.
So I really, truly enjoy season 19. And I feel like they had to have known with the movie how many more eyeballs there was going to be.
Step it up.
Yeah, because man, did they bring. I really feel like this season's really good overall. It's a solid 95%. And boy, will I get to that 5% in a second. Stephen Colbert has an amazing guest spot in the season premiere. Steve Buscemi has a great, creepy prisoner guest spot that merged to be friends. Funeral for a Fiend. Another classic Sideshow Bob episode. He returns and fakes his death. And an all-timer, I mean, timer, I will
Yeah.
hold this up against any classic era episode when it comes to heart. Maybe not
Hmm.
laughs, but like this episode has so much fucking heart. Eternal Moonshine of the Simpson Mind. I love
Mm-hmm.
this episode. It just it's so creative and so well done, and just so much with Homer and Marge's relationship. And then E Pluribus Wigum right after it, where it's the 2008 election. Ralph is running for president. Very fun. And then after all that rip, that long run of episodes is that 90s show. And the goodwill just dies, where they take the classic Homer and Marge backstory of what we know and remember of the meeting in high school and everything about them in the classic era and throw it away for 90s jokes and a retcon. But God, just what an unfunny episode that pissed so many people off.
Was that the one where like so he's part of Nirvana and then he's
Yes.
part of all the music ones? Yeah.
Oh, so bad. And just for all the bad it did to come in what is otherwise just an amazing run of episodes. And like
Yep.
another one in this season, Any Given Sundance, which I like so much. When we were still featuring Simpsons episodes early on, I asked for it to be one of the episodes we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, I like this season in a lot of good with one real bad. So
It's
go back and
the
watch season 19. It's a lot to look at.
yeah, the Jim Jarmusch stuff is really fun. The Departed one, the
Oh
Departed
yeah, that's good too.
knockoff was a lot of fun. Yeah, like they did some good kind of storylines. It felt we're back to Simpsonizing classic stories or
Yeah,
movies or the things like
yeah.
that. It was they. But you're right. I had never considered it that it was right off the heels of the movie, and that's probably the reason that
It is uptick in
they
quality.
had to. Yeah. So.
And also think about the fact that you're talking about episodes you've seen and remember. The
Mhm.
eyes from the movie probably made you think about the show. The fact that you've seen these episodes and were watching the show and are aware of them. You know, it
That's
brought a little back to the zeitgeist.
that's probably true. Yeah. It's maybe I remembered actually like trying to tune in again because I had just seen the movie.
Yeah. Which movie's good too. It'll
Yes. Oh, very much
yeah,
so.
it's fun stuff.
And oh my god, under so much pressure to be
Yeah.
good, and was
Yeah.
really good.
Weird aside, I'll always remember that the theater I was in, I was so excited. We were so hyped. They fucked up the projection at the start. And we missed Ralph doing the 20th Century Fox. And so many
Oh.
people started booing, they had to start it over. So, yeah,
At least they corrected their mistake.
absolutely. So, the only new show for the 2008 2009 season is Sit Down, Shut Up. And I do remember this in concept. I don't remember actually what the show's about, but I remember being excited to want to watch it because if I look at the timeline, I think is this his post Arrested Development follow
Yep.
up for Mitchell Hurwitz, which by the way, the first season after the cancellation of Arrested Development is the start of Animation Domination. If we had gone
Mm,
1 year previous, season 3 of Arrested Development.
gotcha.
So I remember because I'd gotten into Arrested Development by this point as
Yeah.
like, that hip underground thing as you do, like Family Guy building the hype. And I was like, oh man, it's going to be cool. And I know I watched it. And then I don't think I ever watched it again. And I don't think a lot of people did. They only aired 4 episodes. Fox pulled it for low ratings. The remaining
Yep.
9 episodes were burned off on Saturdays at midnight later in the year, and it was canceled by November.
It. I was trying to think about this or what I remembered. I remember seeing one of them maybe when it came out because you look at it and you go, here's the voices on this show.
Oh, yeah, they
Will
had the
Arnett,
cast
Jason
from Arrested
Bateman,
Development
yeah,
practically.
and
Yeah.
Will Forte's in it. Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob. Nick Kroll, Keenan Thompson, Henry Winkler. You're like, boy, this sounds awesome. I'll have to
Yes.
check this out. I rewatched one of the episodes today, and or like again, this is a recurring theme. I got through about 5 minutes of it, and just it's trying too hard.
Yeah.
It's Will Arnett is just he kind of tramples on a lot of it. Like that's kind of his character. I get he's the suave debonair guy, but like it doesn't really work. Like I don't know why, but it relies a little bit too much on being tongue in cheek, but then it goes at such a fast rat-a-tat pace that it doesn't give time to let the tongue in cheek work. That's why I thought Arrested Development was always great, is that there were so many times where you sit there and the bizarreness of it sits there and you kind of are looking around just like
It's funny when you say it like that, though. He never reached those heights again, even when Arrested Development came back. And now I do put part of that on the ham-fisted, hamstrung nature of he didn't ever have the entire cast to shoot an entire show at the same time. But maybe it just never had the same. It was lightning in a bottle, maybe. You could never get it back for anything else he tried to do later on. I don't know. I couldn't make Arrested Development. I shouldn't shit on it.
That show was so funny that I think a lot of the ridiculously silly stuff just compounded and was just even funnier because of, right? Like it worked because everything else was so ridiculous and just seemed to work really, really well in terms of the context of the characters. This Sit Down, Shut Up, I think I even wrote down Variety's review of it, just said it seldom rises above silly double entendres. And you think about it, and it's like, well, there were certain times where like what's the lawyer's name?
Blah, blah, blah.
Martin Short's character, and it's just like a bunch of different ones that was the point. They're just making fun of that kind of stuff. But everything else was already so well crafted that the silly stuff is even funnier because you're already in a good mood from all the other stuff. This does not have that foundation, and that's why it got 4 episodes, I think.
Oh, I found your review, I believe. They called it a raw, vulgar, and blithely offensive, with so many triple and quadruple entendres for so many sexual acts. Well, that sounds fucking terrible. So there you go. Oh, by the way, the show was about a group of high school teachers in Florida who don't want to teach.
Right.
I don't think we ever actually said it was about.
No, yeah, but that's
there you go. Simpsons for this year. I finally remember, but I have almost nothing to say. After all the highs and energy of season 19, I think season 20 is fine and a letdown. It's I don't have much to say, although I will say that the episode Gone, Maggie Gone continues the eternal eternal moonshine and Simpson mind. It's yet another really creative mystery episode. And they kind of go on a run where they pepper those in through these late teens, early 20s, where they find a twist or a mystery, and they craft a really funny, really creative episode of the movie.
I think you and I have talked about it. The Treehouse of Horror this season. I love the Grand Pumpkin episode. I think you said, "Oh, you like it?" Okay.
No, I remember you saying
said you didn't love it. So
I don't love it. I remember you saying that. Sorry. Yes.
But I do. I am.
No, I think your opinion is wrong, but I remember.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
I remember your incorrect opinion.
There you go.
No, so I remember at least that part favorably because I really enjoyed that.
Cool.
But that's what I got for season 20. Yeah.
So moving on to the 2009 to 2010 television season. So I'm still not counting Till Death, even though it started in the spring this time, because it's just fuck this show. So I refuse to talk about it.
Till Death, it will not die. So
there were 2 new shows that came in this season, though.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the animated one or the live action one? I don't really have much to say about either one, but you pick.
All
you
right.
pick and I'll go.
Let's go with the live action first.
Sons of Tucson. So
yes.
The way I wrote this was, I don't know why, but in this era, I considered Tyler Labine like the Sam Worthington of comedy, and that I feel like people kept telling me he was going to be a star. And when I was writing that thought just now, I had to Google guy from Avatar to remember who Sam Worthington is. That's Tyler Labine to comedy for me.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I was like, I had a brief moment. I'm like, was Sam Worthington in this show? I completely messed
that's
up.
That's my equivalent of
Tried to
the
get
way
shoved
in this
down your
era
throat,
they were shoving Sam Worthington as he's the next actor that you're gonna love and will be in everything. I don't know why. I just have this memory or feeling or vibe of Tyler Labine he's funny and you're gonna fucking love him. I'm like, I don't. You do. I was like, I don't. You do. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here.
Right.
But anyway, Sons of Tucson was canceled after 4 episodes, and the remaining 9 were burned off in June and August. It was
The ever so brief, I guess, synopsis of this show is that there are 3 brothers whose dad went to prison, and as a plot for them to avoid going to foster care, they essentially hire this 30-something dude they meet at like a sporting goods store to pose as their father. That's this
and as
show.
I recall, Comedy Worthington is the lead, the guy they find,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Reaper being the show that I think he got some pull from, right? Like I don't think that was a huge show, but I thought that it had sort of a cult following.
I've heard of it, and I think that's why, because it has a cult following.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of like a dark comedic, almost like Lucifer, kind of same. Like I know it wasn't Lucifer, but it was kind of like that kind of idea. Now, I have 2 notes on this show.
Oh my God, you do? I was ready to move on. You do? I'm more just stunned that you have notes on Sons of Tucson.
In 2 separate Fox shows, they made fun of this show.
I remember the Family Guy one
the
because
Family
of the
Guy
promo. They're like, "Oh, you watching that? Watching Sons of
So
Tucson?"
Stewie says, sometimes Fox has bad ideas, and then a fake promo of Sons of Tucson comes on the screen, which is all right. We crap on Family Guy not being as funny, but that's entertaining. So, a good line. And there is another one where it's an American Dad episode where I think it's I only wrote of that they made fun of it on American Dad, but I think it was like there was like a doorstop or not a doorstop, but something on the paperweight on a desk that said Sons of Tucson, and one of the characters was like, "Holy crap, this was on Fox! I've seen everything on Fox. I've never heard of this
I
show."
remember this. It was Steve, Roger the alien. Part of the development of the show is when they realized how much more fun it was to not keep the alien in the house, because so Roger quickly became like a magical being who could his costumes transform people, or transform how people see him. They don't see him as alien. He can put on any disguise, any costume. There's actually an ongoing recurring bit that every family member has one Roger costume they're blind to where they don't realize it's Roger. And they'll bust out that character as that's the one Steve can't see. That's the one Stan can't see. And this time, Steve's best friend Snot is fucking Roger, who's a girl he met at the arcade, Jenny from the block. And it is revealed that he is still a virgin because her vagina was a stress ball she had cut in half, and the stress ball was branded Sons of Tucson. So
wow.
So that is your deep dive on that trivia fact.
So suffice to say, these are the 2. These are not about the show.
No.
These are just that other shows on Fox making fun of the show. So
yes, and both Seth
those are the notes
properties.
that I found. Correct.
Moving on to another Seth MacFarlane property, the other show that's new this year, The Cleveland Show. And not good. Never really good, frankly. The only thing I wrote about The Cleveland Show, I sat down and I started to think about it, and I wrote, I wanted to like The Cleveland Show. But at a certain point, even Seth MacFarlane sent a stand-in to do the voice of the bear and stop showing Sezenith. Even he went, I'm out on this. I'm good. I got other things to do. And it's a bad show. Some good late era Family Guy jokes about it being canceled being a bad show. But otherwise, I got nothing. What can I say?
It's the only thing I have is that the bartender Gus in this show,
David Lynch,
voiced by David Lynch. That's all. That's all I got.
Sorry, I cut you off. I got you, motherfucker. I knew your trivia.
Just an interesting one, and this was actually picked as the one spinoff because they deemed Joe to be too eccentric, and Quagmire wouldn't learn anything over the course of each episode. That's what they determined. So they're like, "What can we do?" And I mean, maybe that would have been more entertaining than what this ended up being. It was, it was just there and not even really there. It was just a Family Guy ripoff, really.
Here's my question. Why the fuck did David Lynch voice the bartender? Aside from, I read that, they're a huge fan and they asked him. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking how it happened. I'm asking why David Lynch went, yeah, for 20 episodes across the show's run.
That feels like Seth MacFarlane would be like, it'd be funny if we got David Lynch to voice the bartender, and they just asked him and he was like, okay.
Wild. Anyway, Moving on to, I closed it. We were in the 2009, 10 season at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we were. Did
Yep.
I talk about The Simpsons in this season yet? Am I being smart and remembering it before we move on?
I don't
I don't think
believe
I
so.
did. Oh, no, I didn't, because
Uh-huh.
this is, I accidentally turned on voice chat. This is amazing. I accidentally transcribed the start of something I was saying that said, "This is not." And I started reading that as my note and got caught in like an infinite loop of my own
Oh
note.
man.
I went, this isn't my note. Yeah. Anyway, this has what I think is not outright terrible yet, but the very first in season 21 trending towards bad Sideshow Bob episode. It took him 20 years to get there.
I mean, it's pretty good.
It is. What I don't like about it, while there are funny moments, what I don't
Mm-hmm.
like about it is that it notably ignores all past Bob continuity. He's just suddenly disguised as someone as the Simpsons neighbor who moved in living next to the Simpsons, and that's how he's going to get to Bart. No mention of his wife, no mention of his kids, no mention of what happened after Funeral for a Fiend, no notice of what has been going on that for 20 years has always had something. As you recall, there's a famous trivia fact that in Cape Fear in some of those early episodes, the only reason they got away with bringing him back is the network said you have to get the audience up to speed and recap what he's done in other appearances to
Right.
bring him back. I guess 20 years on, they don't have to do that anymore because he's just suddenly there. There are funny bits here because he has done a face off where he stole someone's face and sewed it over his own. And like he sliced off his face and sewed it on the other guy. And his stitches keep coming undone, so his face keeps flopping. And there is a lot of good Kelsey Grammer grumbling that you can't help but laugh at in those
Yeah.
moments. But taken as an episode, it is the start of a downward spiral that we will hit again in a minute.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. Otherwise, I don't have anything to say on the season. Have you seen the episode I'm talking about?
Yes. It's been a while, but yeah, and I agree. I think there were times I think I can always find something in a Sideshow Bob episode that I'll
Exactly.
chuckle at, but yeah, not on par with the others.
It's a shame considering the bar of quality, even as other seasons fell down, that those episodes continued to have. So what are you gonna do? 2010 to 2011 TV season. We're nearing the end. The only new show showing up this season, we have Simpsons, American Dad, Cleveland Show, Family Guy. Bob's Burgers starts this season
Mm-hmm.
as a replacement when I'm sure they're trying to figure out what to do with the Cleveland Show. Cleveland Show starts the season at 8:30, eventually at 9:30 after Family Guy. Bob's Burgers does show up mid-season at 8:30. We've talked Bob's Burgers a little bit in the past. I don't really have anything new to say on it. Other than it grew on me. I do not have an encyclopedic knowledge of Bob's Burgers like I do Simpsons, Early Family Guy, American Dad. It's more to me, and I know some people are diehards on this and do have that. It
Yep.
is more of a King of the Hill to me, where I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's pleasant. It's on. I won't turn it off, but I'm not seeking it out. I like it, but I'm not encyclopedic about it.
Yes, I would agree with that. I will say there is probably any episode I turn on, I find a good misguided, I don't want to say misguided, but like, well, no, maybe that's right. Like a chuckle that I didn't see coming,
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
little thing. It's very, I don't know, say innovative or whatever the word is. Like it's clever. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Like it is a pretty basic storyline, but there's always something clever thrown in there that makes me kind of go, okay, that's a good joke. It's not maybe the like falling over, laugh out loud, but it's something that I'm like, okay, I see what they did
A
there. This is
wry
fun.
smirk has
I
come about.
smirk, yeah. And I
Yes.
love the stuff that they always would do during the credits. Like there's just always so much fun little things that they would do that would carry on through, which is a nice ending thing. So you're not just sitting there going, oh, okay, whatever. Like it's I like when they do the other ones. I still to this day will sing Regular Fries to the tune of Cruel to Be Kind. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, so but it's Oh God, it's so amazing. So he gets so mad about sweet potato fries.
Yes. I realize that's not exactly in-depth analysis, but it's on a show
Yeah.
that I think is good, but I don't have a lot of thoughts on. But it's obviously going to become a long-running staple.
I think it has a really or a really high floor. I think that's
Yeah,
what how I'd say. That's how I would say for Bob's Burgers. It's even when it's like sort of an average show, it's still pretty good. Like it doesn't. It can get really really good, but like it, you tune into it and you're not going to be disappointed by it. Where we don't always say that on every other show that we're.
very well said. Season 22 of The Simpsons is this season as well. This season, I keep saying, yeah, that's right. Season 22. Yeah,
Yep.
I did the words good. Me do words good.
Yes.
Me speak. Me fail English. That's impossible.
Impossible. That's not
Anyway,
this season.
season 22 had an amazing premiere. It's the Flight of the Conchords episode, if you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And the show aired less than a year after the HBO show had ended. So this felt like getting like a little unexpected dessert, like an epilogue to Flight of the Conchords. You got like 2 songs that you weren't expecting. I was like, oh, this is just comforting. This is a fun little episode. This is nice. 500 Keys is a lot of fun. It's another artsy, creative mystery episode. I really enjoy it. In this era, they're still doing them. The finale notable because it's the voting gimmick that I'm not sure, was it maligned? Where they told people to call and vote or vote online if they wanted to see Ned and Edna stay together after the finale,
Mm-hmm. Right.
which they did. The next season they were together, and that stayed until Marsha Miss Krabappel's passing. I felt bad. I forgot her name.
Wallace, right?
Yes, Marsha
No.
Wallace.
Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
Marsha Wallace. Well
Mhm.
done. But that's it. Any thoughts on any that from that season? Or
I
anything?
like. I mean, I like the original Angry Dad episode, but the Angry Dad the movie episode I thought was pretty funny too. So it's because it's a great recurring thing with me. I get a kick out of. It's I don't know what it is. It's silly but fun, and Homer going over the top is always entertaining. So.
Absolutely. And I feel like in this era, his over the top was good in that they had dialed back by this point from the late teens jerk ass Homer
Right.
era. His over the top was still fun over the top, idiotic mean over the top by this point.
Correct. Yes. Agreed.
Despite an episode called Angry Dad. It was not idiotically mean. So. Moving on to the next season, which is the 2011-12 season.
Yep.
The Bob's Burgers is back. Cleveland Show's back. Simpsons back. Family Guy, American Dad. All your stalwarts are here. This is the first year I think we've talked about, unless I'm wrong. No, we just finished the first year that was actually all animation. The
Okay.
post Sons of Tucson year, 2010 to 2011, we just finished, was truly animation domination, not just in
Long
branding.
last.
And the next year also is nothing but cartoons.
Okay.
There are 2 new shows that both only last, I believe, half a season.
Mhm.
They are first, Napoleon Dynamite got an animated follow-up years later.
Yep.
As I recall, do you like the movie Napoleon Dynamite? Because I don't.
So.
And I believe you liked it. This has been a point of contention in the past, I think.
Yes.
Because I do not like this film.
I really liked the movie, so and ergo I liked this show. So I don't think you would like this or
For
if you recalled it. So
for you, then, in reaction to what you're saying, I will throw you a gosh. But otherwise, I hate the movie.
yeah,
So there you
yeah,
go.
it's
Did you watch
and
the show? Did you check out the
I
show?
did.
Do you remember
Yeah,
the show?
no, and I thought for as much as I enjoyed the movie, and I did quite a bit. I know you and I have gone back and forth on this.
I wrote my notes before bed at like 3 a.m. last night, and I'm revisiting them, scrolling them and I got to these last 2 shows at like the very end of the night, right? Yeah. I forgot this. My notes for Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite hyphen. Fuck this.
Yeah.
That's my entire note.
It's well established you don't like it.
No,
Can I do my
that aside, I'd forgotten that I'd wrote it that way until right now.
I'm glad you were amused by your own writings. So
I mean, I'm my biggest fan. Anyway, please continue with your fun anecdote. Now, tell me about the show. I don't remember anything about it.
So, and you're gonna hate my take on it.
You loved it.
I really liked it. Mike Scully helped develop this, and it has his fingerprints on it because it has I'm going to say it. It has some back and forth conversation, jokey style of The Critic. I'm going to say it.
Oh my God. Oh my
It is
God.
not.
That's funny because Mike Scully didn't do The Critic.
Didn't he?
No, it was that was Al Jean.
Oh,
Mike
okay.
Rice.
Al Jean, and I thought it was him and Mike Sully.
It
Okay,
was
well
Mike
then
Rice, the other Mike from.
Oh, gotcha. So, well, it has the
Oh,
same.
motherfucker, you got nothing on me.
Okay, I still think it sounds
No,
like The
no,
Critic,
please tell
even
me
if
it's.
it's not Mike Sully.
I'm being.
If you just want to shit on this for like 20
I
minutes, we
do.
could do
I do.
that.
No,
But
hang on.
like,
Hang on.
I
Let me
know you hate
pause.
this, but
Let me pause. I'm going to show
uh-huh.
you the respect you haven't shown me over Star Trek. I'm going to be quiet, and I'd like you to talk to me about this show.
You are 0 for 2 on that so far, but we could go on. The part of this that I really enjoyed is it leaned into the fact that it was animated. And so it could put Napoleon in goofier situations and visually could showcase extra things that were more fantastical than the movie. The movie obviously is a movie and would not be able to show, not the Napoleon like shot into outer space or something like that, but he could do, I think at one point he puts on in one of the episodes he takes like a acne cream, but the acne cream makes him like impervious to pain. Like that's one of the side effects. And so he gets into this like ultimate fighting ring kind of thing.
So
And
the fantastical elements aren't so fantastical that you feel like they're breaking the nature of the show or breaking the nature of the world that you've come to enjoy, but they heighten it just enough to be fun.
So like the wrestling thing almost looks super heroic, kind of, but because they're animation, it can kind of get away with that. Not to mention, and this is another thing, if you liked the movie, is that they got basically everybody
Oh, that's
to do
cool.
the voices.
No, that's
for
good. That's awesome.
Everybody. Like this is not just John Hader. This is Tina Majorino. This is Ephraim Ramirez. This is Hilary Duff's sister, Haley Duff, and I mean, like they got Uncle Rico. Like everybody came back to do the voices for this. I was kind of surprised because I thought it would have a little bit more. I bet you this would have a longer life now. If this came out and was like instantly going to Hulu or Netflix or something like that, I bet you it would have a longer life.
Credit to the show too. Is it seems like people enjoyed it when they saw it, but also Fox did it no favors. Where apparently for the only 6 episodes it aired in multiple time slots for 6 episodes. Like that's not doing anybody any favors.
I remember watching it like strictly on streaming or something else like that. Like that was how I watched it because I didn't know what it was because it was all over the place. But I liked it. I'll end it there.
No, I listen, we get into our bits, but that's cool. And I respect that, like from a fandom standpoint. It made me think of the way you were describing it, the Clerks cartoon, which also only got 6 episodes. Classic, adore it, love it. But it also went fuck the realism entirely. So it went as hard out as it could.
I don't know if it went as far as Clerks did, which I enjoyed, but it took advantage of the fact it was animated.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I didn't look up a lot of reviews. Did other fans seem to enjoy it?
I think so. Yeah, it was. I didn't look at the overall, whatever Metacritic or any of those, but it seemed like it was reviewed okay. I think it's the same as the movie, right? Because the movie is very polarizing. Like it's just there are people like me and there are people like you.
Yeah.
It's like
well said.
That I think so. I think it was a lot of the same thing. The people that really enjoyed the movie were like, "Oh, cool, this is fun," and got a kick out of it. So it was for them, but maybe they knew the audience, but it wasn't broad enough for Fox to keep going with it.
Fair enough. So there was actually on Sundays a mid-season replacement for the other show that was canceled after like 6 or 8 episodes or some shit. Hang on, 7 episodes. I was so close. Alan Gregory. I remember this one better because I was intrigued by maybe the animation style or the cast because I had a few names in it. Will Forte, French Stewart, Jonah Hill was the lead. It was co-created by Jonah Hill. But I really didn't like this show. And the note, I remember, I wrote this note now, but I base it off remembering this at the time. This felt so fucking pretentious. And based on, how do I say this? Based on who I feel like Jonah Hill has become in the public eye in the years since, it is very Jonah Hill. Yeah. It is very him, but you didn't know that in 2012.
Right.
So it's
He
like,
had a lot more goodwill from the other stuff,
right,
maybe. Yeah,
yeah,
we're on the heels of
exactly,
super bad and
yeah. As his Jonah
right.
Hill vanity project. Now I see the clip, so I was like, oh, it is definitely his project, and I
Yeah.
don't really care for it.
It's just kind of pretentious, mean, and annoying. Like
Yeah.
it's not. Ugh. My favorite thing about this is when I did the research on it, went to Wikipedia, and under it says "see also," and then the category is list of television shows notable for negative receptions. So there you go.
So that's actually the last. Did
Hmm.
I include Enlisted on this or no? I didn't, because that was a summer show. So our
Mm,
last new show until the season, the end of Animation Domination, which was
right.
2013-14. We were just talking 2011 to 2012, and then 2012, 2013, 2013, 2014, Animation Domination ends the next season. Mulaney starts up, a few other shows. Mulaney, Famous Disaster.
Oof.
I wanted to like that show so bad.
Everybody did.
I wanted to like it so much.
I gave it, I
Man,
don't know, a couple episodes,
it
and it was
was
just like, wow,
bad.
this is terrible.
But for fall, winter, spring, there were no more new shows in those last couple of years. It stayed Bob's Burgers, American Dad,
Yep.
Simpsons, Family Guy. Funny thing about the end of Animation Domination, American Dad was canceled in 2014, but TBS picked it up, and it's been on
Oh,
ever since.
huh.
Fun fact about that, the season that just ended in May, TBS canceled it. Fox picked it up. Next season, it's coming back to Fox. So,
Uh,
so
Funny how these things work.
it won't die, but it's also not had a Family Guy or Futurama like hiatus. It
Yeah.
keeps just moving back.
Yep.
So, interesting thing to note. American Dad on its way back to Fox, and they have actually rebranded in the last couple of years Animation Domination, the return of
Right.
Animation Domination. So, as it comes back, makes sense.
It's
Uh,
wild.
Finishing out The Simpsons the last couple of years, season 23, I like the episode The Book Job a lot. Neil Gaiman plays himself, and it's a
Okay.
heist episode. But the heist is they're writing a young adult novel at the height of like the Hunger Games. And they're using a fake author. Lisa wrote the book, but they're faking an author to get it published. And they
Mm,
get a bunch of like young adult authors and Neil Gaiman, and like Moe's part of it, writing
yeah.
fiction. It's a goofy episode. It's fun. Nothing
Yeah.
special, but I enjoy it. Season 24, I got nothing. I genuinely have no notes on season 24, up
Wow.
or down. Season 25, I have Brick Like Me as the Lego episode. Aired on
Hmm.
my 31st birthday. I remember I had it DVR'd and I watched it late after work. What a fun story.
There
So,
you go.
the only other note I have for that season is this season, season 25, is the first truly bad Sideshow Bob episode.
Uh,
It is fucking bad. It's the one where he gets genetically modified to have gills and like superpowers. And he works with Lisa at some science foundation on prison work release. Again, no mention of the family, no mention of his history. I don't remember him being in prison at the end of the last episode. He just is again. And he's on
mm,
work release and he's experimenting on himself and he suddenly gave himself like superpowers. It's really fucking bad.
uh,
And it bums me out because they did it.
I have a very vague recollection of that, so but I don't
It's not
remember
good.
much, so that's
It's
probably
not
why.
good. By the way, I one note dialing back to the 2012 and 13 season. That is the season of Family Guy where in my notes I said, where did I fall out of love with Family Guy?
Mm,
Where did I fall out of love with Family Guy was season 11, that season. I looked at it, I skimmed the episodes, and there were so many that were so bad. But there's one episode that I remember thinking, I think I hate this show now. It is
oh
the
wow.
episode Ratings Guy, where they started their years long bitching about how they've never gotten an Emmy. And all I can think of is, you don't get Emmys because your show is fucking bad.
Right.
So, yeah. But anyway, any final thoughts on the evolution of animation domination, the shows in later eras, the ending, the return, anything else you want to say at all about this entire era of television? Specifically Sunday nights on Fox.
Yeah. I think it is interesting how it kind of fell into the same sort of idea, right? So King of the Hill goes away. They try to fill it in with the Cleveland Show. That doesn't really work, but they find Bob's Burgers, right? So they have another little more laid back, comedic, but more heartfelt, kind of just focusing on the family and how things are going, like not necessarily focusing on the joke or whatever. And so how they always seem to need one of those in there, right? The Simpsons always going to be the anchor, right? That's always going to be there for what it is. It is well established.
Always.
Family
The
Guy
voices
can
are
hold.
going to become fucking AI. The cast will be dead, will be dead, and that show's going to be still fucking on. Always.
And Family Guy had found its niche within there, and then American Dad kind of developed its kind of different part of it, but they were able to put this in there. So it's interesting that it found its way in there, and that's why towards the end of it, right, or quote unquote end, is that it was a pretty solidified lineup because they had found what they needed, which worked at the beginning. But then there was that brief time period in the middle where they were trying to find their way through what worked, and clearly, I mean, guess Malcolm in the Middle, but
But
none
that
of
was
the
its
other
final
live
season.
action ones,
That didn't
right?
even
None of the live action ones worked. So
that Malcolm in the Middle, while a classic and well regarded, that was the dumping ground of a final year. Let's get this out of here.
yeah.
But
So
no,
I wonder what the thought process was for that. Just to say, maybe that's just because they were hoping everyone is tuning in for these. Maybe it'll boost it a little bit more than if we put it on Wednesday nights or
between
whatever.
Simpsons after football, but that damages that 7 o'clock spot on Sundays.
Tough.
Feels like it should be good, but if that game goes long, you're dead. You're out.
Yep.
Yeah. But with that, we will wrap it up. And boy, we don't usually record at night. It has gotten dark while we were recording. It was light while we started, and now we can get raunchy finally. It is podcast after dark. I'm gonna fuck it up. Let's get good. Yeah, girl.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna take my socks off. This is an only stream.
Boy.
Only fan stream. You can tell how versed I am in that. I got it wrong.
Yeah. And no one's listening anymore. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
were they listening until
they went running away? They went running away. Maybe
they were listening until the point where I tried to get sexy because it's after dark. Yeah, girl. Hang on. If you're watching the video version, enticement to do it. I'm unbuttoning one more button.
Oh God.
Because it's the after. Hey, how we doing?
Problem is, me turning my camera off doesn't solve any of this. So it's a but.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I just want to do the social media plugs. And actually, hang on. I'm gonna, Randy, while you are in the room. And while I say this to men, women, non-binary, anyone that is listening, I mean this to you. I'm going to use the term girl for the bit I'm doing, but this is all-encompassing for all people, okay? But now I'm going to do the plugs after dark. Social media plugs and goodbye after dark. Hey, girl. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for checking my social media. And I want to say you can always find me at Mike Barcode, MikeBarcode. TikTok, Instagram, anywhere you get that sweet social media loving. You want to reach out to us, you leave that 5-star review. I make myself laugh. It's a real bad habit. You want to leave it's also your face. In this moment, not in general. That's not a rude comment. That sounded dickish. You want to leave that 5-star positive. You want to leave that you want to leave that 5-star positive review on your podcast provider of choice. We sure would appreciate it, girl. Oh, yeah. Any comments, you send them our way. Oh, yeah. Randy, you got anything to take us out on? Take us out tonight, Randy.
Let's turn the lights down low. Bye, everybody.
Bye.